Good morning and welcome to the latest edition of building the DJH standard 2260 78XXX. And what we're going to do today is, well, we're going to continue with the tender. So you should have 4 parts for your tender. So you've got the chassis from the last time, you've got the body from the second time, and you've got your 2 unadorned side frames from the third time. So what we're going to do, we've largely built the tender. It's sort of now really all it is about detailing the tender. So if you can decipher the instructions, like I said at the start, they are quite crowded, and we're going to tackle the bits largely at random really, because what you want to do for this is there's a mixture of white metal and brass bits, and ideally you want to do the brass, the high temperature soldering if you need to use a gas torch, and we may need to use a gas torch for some of these parts. So you want to do that first before you start tackling any white metal fittings, and there are a number of white metal fittings like the buffer shanks, for example, and on here these large cutouts, they've got the tank ventilators, and the 2 big holes of course are the water filler and the pressure dome. So we will largely do this at random, and it will probably take a couple of programs to cover all the detailing, but then the tender will be finished and then we can move on to the main locomotive. So I've selected some parts to fit to start off with, and I've got the ladder for the rear. We're going to fit the ladder first, and then we will do the handrails. The bunker supports, which are these L-shaped pieces of brass etching. The doors for the firemen, or part of the doors for the firemen. What you'll have to do, they're rather at random on the edges, so you'll have to hunt around for them. They're not numbered, but they are relatively easy to identify. So we'll do all those. We'll do those 5 parts, and then we'll move on. And then we've got, I've put to one side, these are the lamp irons for the rear. There's 3 there. They consist of 2 parts, and there's another part on the another etch. We will take one of the parts for the rear steam heating and the vacuum hose, and also you'll need some of these are the long handrails knobs, and of course you will need quite a bit of this nickel silver 0.7mm wire. So the ideal thing to do is get everything ready that you're going to do, and like I've done, we'll start off with the 5 parts, and then we'll do the handrails around the edge, and we'll see how long that takes, and we may have time to do some other things, some other handrails and the lamp irons, and start to do this, the tender front. So I'll just reposition the camera, and we'll crack on and we'll see how far we get. Okay, welcome back. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the ladder. Now there are 4 holes on the top of the tender. There are 2 smaller holes there and corresponding holes down on the platform, the footplate. So before you commit to folding this, just check that the tabs on the parts fit the holes. I've just checked and they both do, so we're going to use the hold and fold again. It's not compulsory to have one of these, obviously, but they do sort of allow you to get a decent sharp fold. So I fold that. And then just look at it by eye and make sure that it's square before you commit to fitting it. So that side just needs a little bit more. So there's the ladder. So we'll fit the ladder. And it is a little bit awkward to fit, but don't force it because it is quite a delicate etch. Don't force it too much. Right. Okay, so there it is fitted. So we'll solder it up quickly. Solder. As with most parts, whatever you do, when you get to this stage, because you have built your superstructure and your superstructure is largely fixed, just make sure that all the additional parts that you're starting to fit actually fit where they are going to go. So try the fit first before you commit to soldering. Then that way you will, well, it won't be so painful for you. So I use baker's fluid, whatever flux you use. I'm going to solder it from underneath, see what that does. And there's the ladder fitted. So it's a little bit obviously of cleaning up to do, but we'll do all the cleaning up at the end. So the next thing is to do the bunker supports, which are these L-shaped pieces, and they fit in the slots on the back of the bunker. So we'll just fit them by hand. and you'll probably need a pair of tweezers to do this, to get them level. So they need to be fully seated in the bunker back and perpendicular to the rear of the bunker. So we'll just do that. Probably the easiest way to do this is to tack solder the top or the vertical part. So that's what we'll do. We'll try that. Right, so I've just tack soldered that one on the inside at the top, and it doesn't look too bad, although it's not vertical. So just need to check all of these in all dimensions just to make sure that they satisfy the aesthetics. So that isn't too bad. So now that's okay, we'll solder the bottom to the tank top. So that's soldered to that. Now what we'll do is just run up the other part. There is some half-etched detail on the back of the bunker, so try not to cover that with too much solder, because all it will be is you'll just have to, whatever you put on, you'll have to take off. So there's one done. We'll do the other one quickly. So I've used the same method. I've tack soldered the part at the top. I need something a little bit more beefy than tweezers. To line it up. So make sure they're parallel. They look okay, so we'll fix these in place. keep checking your work as you go. And there are the two, let's get the autofocus, there are the two tank supports. Just make sure they're parallel, take your time. Don't worry too much if the holes are quite big between where the tabs go in, because the solder, if you use 145 like I've done, it should be sufficient to actually fill any holes. Got a little bit of a hole there, so we'll just put a little bit more on there. So don't worry too much about any holes. You can fill that with solder as you go. So the next parts that we're going to do are these parts, which are the doors. There should be two. Where's the other one? Well, there are two. I'll find the other one in a minute. Because I said, oh, there's the other one. These are the side doors for here, for the firemen, and they go in the inner holes, and they need to be, the holes need to be drilled out. So we'll find the correct drill, and if you look at the instructions, it actually tells you what size the holes need to be, and these ones need to be 1mm in diameter. I won't show you because you won't hardly be able to see it. So we'll find a 1mm drill. Yes, we'll find a 1mm drill and drill it out. There we go. See what that one is. That's a 1mm drill. I knew I left it out for a reason. Make sure you drill the right holes out. That one doesn't quite fit. Let's try this one over here. Right, so it doesn't quite fit, so we're going to have to make one of the holes a bit bigger. Let's see, this one might do. So this is this one. That's 1.4. That might be a bit big. Right, we've got 1.2 here. I just drill out one or the other of the holes, not both of them, otherwise the part won't fit properly. It'll slop around too much. So there we have it. We'll just solder that in place. We'll just straighten up. We bent it a little bit. Right, when you solder this, just make sure it's parallel to the tank side. And we'll solder it on the inside. Might have used a little bit too much solder there, but we can clean that off afterwards. And we might need to use a gas torch on this. So there it is roughly. We'll do the other one. Of course, when you do this, make sure you get the curved bit at the top and the straight bit at the bottom. And this one we're not going to be able to fit. And there's the other one. So we're cracking on a bit now with all these little bits and pieces. There's two more bits that will fit, which are the lifting link reinforcement parts on the back, and these are pretty small, and you've got to find them on the fret. They are pretty small, and there they are. So they're just below the cab. There's these two parts here. So we'll do those as well. And then we'll move on to do the handrail around the back. I can't find my scalpel. Where did I put it? Well, I'm just going to change the blade on this because it's a bit old and knackered, and the part is very small, so you want a fresh blade. Fresh blade. So they're liable to ping off in any direction, so just put your finger on top and don't do what I normally do, which is cut your finger. There we go. So we've got them off. There's a little bit of flash to clear off. I'll just get rid of the old blade. Now, to fit these parts, probably the easiest way to do it is to get something that will fit into the hole in them. So we'll use the tweezers. They do need a little bit of dressing. This brooch has got a point on the end of it, so what we do is we stick the point down it, and that should line the holes up, and then just make sure it's square before you solder it. So we'll be generous with the flux. And we're going to have to use gas torch on these. So just tack solder them in place is probably the best thing, and then we'll clean it up with a gas torch in a moment. So use a gas torch, just tidy it up. Yeah, we use a gas torch and we've got to put some gas in it first. I haven't got much gas left. Right, so we're cracking on with the handrails. We've tidied up the other side and we'll just do this one. And we use the same method. So it's 2 and 2. So 2 and 2 handrails, so we just do these ones the same way as we did the other one. So it's probably easy to do the side ones first. Ooh, bit too much solder there, never mind. when you go around, just make sure that all the handrails are vertical. This one isn't, slightly off vertical. Yeah, this is proving to be quite tricky. I'll do it off camera. Okay, welcome back after all that fussing around, and I've managed to get them pretty good. They're all parallel to the sides, parallel to the back, and they've been trimmed off. So the next thing to do is find our offcut of 0.7, and we will go and find a 0.7mm drill. Need to find a 0.7mm drill. What have we got in here? Alright, 0.75 will do. So the next thing to do is to do the handrails. So we'll just check that's 0.7. So we're just going to go around and make sure that the holes that we're going to use, put the handrails in, are 0.7. And we will also drill out drilling out the holes for the window bars. So that's done. Right, where's our bit of, just check that it actually goes in. Yeah. Okay. So there's no hard and fast rule about doing this, but I tend to do it by eye. So we'll do the back ones first. Of course you can get jigs to do this, and maybe I should invest. Yeah, maybe I should invest because that's not quite right. And I've done it not right again, and I'll keep that for something else because you can normally only bend it once if you get it wrong. So this one looks promising. Yeah, that's another one I've not got right. I'm not having much luck today, I'm afraid. Maybe I should put my hand in my pocket and buy a jig. Luckily you get plenty of 0.7mm wire in the kit. Hooray! We'll use that. Well, I'm not going to show you doing all 4 of these because it is pretty tedious. So use whatever method you prefer to do this. There's no need to follow my bit of a bodge to do it. To get the correct length. follow whichever method you prefer. When you do it, just make sure that they are it is equidistant. This one's not quite equidistant. So that's not too bad. Now I'll go away and I'll do the other 4, and I'll come back and show you when I've done them. Right, so I've done all 4 handrails. So we've got, where's the autofocus gone? Well, we've got one there, and one here, and one here. Now we're going to move on. I will move on and I'll do the rails at the rear of the windows, and then that will be it and for this episode. And when we come back, we will start fitting the white metal parts, although there's one huge part that I haven't fitted yet, which is the bunker top, and I'll do that off camera. It's just a question of dropping it in and then soldering around, and then we'll do the face of the bunker front. So doing these parts is much the same way as doing the handrails, except you need to cut the short bits off as short as you possibly can, because you're not going to be able to easily get to the inside of here. It's not impossible, but you're not going to be able to get in there with cutters. So I'll do these off camera, and then I'll show you what I've done when I come back next time. So thank you for watching this episode. Apologies for any technical glitches that there have been in this production, and I'll see you the next time when we will complete the tender. Thank you for watching.